Welcome to CommanderSmiths.
We are the CommanderSmiths.
I'm Adam Smith.
And I'm Lowery Smith.
Don't worry.
We're cousins.
Episode 199. We are one away from 200. And are we doing anything special next week? We'll talk about that later. Let's get that. We got some stuff going on next week. Yeah, but this week, the week before the special 200 episode, what are we doing this week? Let's just get right into.
So is this episode 200 Eve? Is that
200 Eve?
It's
a long.
What are we doing? What are we doing? Oh, yeah, Christmas Eve, day before. I don't know.
It's kind of our bit of just the tips, you know. Isn't it? I mean, it's just
we're doling out the information, trying to help.
Just for a second, just to see how it feels.
We got a fucking button.
I'm out, you're on my hair.
Got a button. Beep. Nice contribution to it, Lair. I have buttons too. Beep.
Yep. Not as long. Very to the point.
Kind of like your sex life. Woo! I don't even want to go to the jump drums. I just do it. All right. So. Okay, so that was you crying.
Okay,
I thought you were
cry.
I thought you were laughing. Actually, I didn't know that you were crying with that.
Wow, I guess you've never heard me cry. That's how close we are. Yeah, very high pitched.
I don't think I've actually heard you cry before. Now I'm thinking about it. Yeah, I think you've probably seen me drunkenly cry before. So I think that might be. Yeah. I've seen you have a concussion, and that's about it. You're probably the closest you've been there to crying because it was just constant puking. That was fun.
Death. I was the closest to death then.
That was bad. I remember driving you back home the next day, and it was like, what? We made it every 10 minutes, and you're like, I gotta puke. Then we you basically had to puke every time. We had to pull over, and you puked a bunch. That
wasn't to home. That was to your house from St. Cloud, and then I drove home after the Vikings game.
Oh, you mean to my parents' house, my dad's house? Oh no! Were we living? Because
we were up in St. Cloud.
That's right. For some reason, I was thinking I was in the apartments up there, but no, that was we were living at our house in Elk River.
Yeah, that was Scooby Doo Halloween.
Yeah, Scooby Doo.
Yep. Scooby
Doo was not feeling very good.
Standing up
after too many Scooby snacks. All right. So what are we doing? Back to what we're doing today. We have, of course, our Stump the Smith Savant, which we are on week 3. And a non-patron, which I like having those. Sometimes they're very difficult if they win and you live in Scotland, which is where one of our winners two times ago. It was
far away.
Yeah, I was like, oh, damn it. It costs more to ship this card to you than what this card is worth.
It's worth it, though.
Yeah, totally worth it.
We love you, international people.
So we have Stump the Smith Savant. We have a new staple versus. We have to go over the results of that, but then we have just the tips. And what are we kind of going over? I mean,
we're going to be talking about the thought process that you should be having when you're building your collection to play with decks.
So basically, build your toolbox. What kind of stuff? Especially, this is good for not only it's great for new players.
I think this is aimed towards the new players,
but it might also be for players that have been playing and been like, oh yeah, maybe I should get more cards like that. You know, I'm kind of lacking in this department. We're going to kind of break down more of the importance of which things you should be targeting first. Not necessarily, we'll name some cards, and because there's so many cards, it might pop up on screen. It might not, if you're watching on YouTube. But it's more so just to give you examples.
Too. It's not going to happen.
Exactly. Because last week I was like, holy shit, we said a lot of cards. Why did we say so many cards? But you can still see our faces. So the cards will pop up occasionally. But it's more so to target or give you an idea.
What if when I go on those card rants that I just have them on me and I just show them? Would that help you?
That would. Yeah, but you really can't. You got to get your camera. We got to get you back to your webcam instead of your computer cam or whatever. Because then it might work a little
shitty.
Better.
All right.
Yeah, because it was really, we were just, I was doing a lot of cards. We were both going back with cards, and then you went I remember in the editing process, oh shit, Larry's and then there's this card, and then there's this card, and then there's this card. I'm like, okay, flash this one up. Okay, flash this one up. This one.
You all should appreciate the work that Adam puts in, because I would have just put run-on sentence GIF in.
Oh, damn. That's actually a good idea. Maybe
Question mark. What the fuck is he doing? This is off script.
There's too many cards.
Yep.
Just
something.
Cards. Just put a magic back.
Cards.
Yeah. Cards. Lowry's card. Well, hey, buddy, we got some freaking games in this weekend, didn't we?
We did. Mm-hmm.
Woo! It's been a little bit because you missed the last one.
I did. Last time I played was July.
Holy balls.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, because the last one was at number 2's house. So, yeah, it's been a while. Got some good games in. I only won 2 of the games, so that's not the point. I got a lot of fun games. The one I won was kind of interesting. That was the one with you with the flip coin thing.
No,
that was crazy.
That felt like old times.
How many times I hit even on the rolling the dice?
Yes.
What, one of them was like 7 times in a row?
7 or 8 times. Okun was huge.
Yeah, and so there was Tom, my neighbor Tom, who is also learning. He was the only one open, and I was like, I guess you're dead. And then I played, what is that called? Chance Encounter? Is that what that one's called?
Something like that.
Something like that, where it's
aliens on the art.
Yeah. So if you get 10 or more luck counters, and every time you flip a coin and you win, you get a luck counter.
He got it in like 2 turns.
2 turns, yeah. And then it was just like, go. If you guys can kill it, I don't win, but you guys couldn't do anything. Yeah. So, but you had some pretty good games, I heard. I heard some... a lot of swearing coming from the other tables of Lowery.
Does that make it a good game?
No, it makes it a good game for you. You're enjoying it. You're sitting there chuckling. What? I don't kill the Smith first. What?
I mean, that first game I played with you there, Trelasara, which is like the D&D green-white, whenever you gain life, put a 1/1 counter on it.
That was brutal.
Holy shit, did that come out flying.
And then we got fucked, kind of. More so you did.
Definitely more me. I was we
both. What happened? It was killed all the creatures with
austere command. Killed all of my creatures and all of my artifacts and your creatures.
Yep, except for one. No, I had one left, but mine was tapped.
You did, yeah.
And
so that was number 2 who did it. Then Jeremy had the 5 mana like red, black, 3 colorless demon. That whenever it deals damage, it puts that player to 1.
And he also had his commander Mogus out. So at the beginning of your turn, you either sacrifice a creature or lose 2 life.
Yeah.
So once number 2 did that, both Larry and I are like, and we're in a 5-player game. We're in 5-player game. Both of us are in the corner just going, holy shit, we're fucked. And everybody's like, what are they talking about? I was like, nothing. And then Larry pointed out, I was like, you're fine, actually, because you actually have a creature to sacrifice. And I'm like, You're right. You're really fucked.
Fuck.
So then Jeremy hit you down to 1, and then on my turn, I bounced. I was like, I'm saving you, Larry, and I used Wash Away.
Wash out.
Yeah, Wash Out. Bounced all red, so Mogus didn't hit Lowry. But then my next turn around, what was I using in that deck? Was that my Eureka? I think it was Eureka.
Yeah, it was Eureka. Yeah.
And then I hit, and I did 5 damage. You gained a couple life. But then you got hit too.
It was definitely a fun game.
But then you got to actually use that, and it went crazy in other games, though, right?
Yeah, I used it on the next game, and it got up to like a 25/25 flying indestructible. Jeez. And yeah,
one player.
It was hard to. Yeah. So it was, and it does well. Like you're flying through your deck, and you're gaining a bunch of life. Like sometimes it's like, when you're just gaining those little amounts of life, people don't realize that you're just like at 60 life pretty quick. And Trelasara's, a 12/12. Yeah. Like, so
that's
big.
Not only are you gaining a crap ton of life, but your creature is getting big at the same time. I guess I was meaning to say it the other way around. Your creature's getting huge, which that's everybody's focus, and at the same time, your life is going up. So people's less focused on your life until after your scary big creature is dealt with. But
I'll definitely need to. Those were the first 2 games I've actually played with it, so I'll have to change it a little bit. I think I'll make it a little bit more Voltron-y.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
To make sure that Trelasara can go through.
Yeah,
but it's a very fast deck, and if somebody kills Trelasara, I think the deck is over as well. So.
Well, what's the CMC on how much does it cost to get
2.
them out?
It's green and a white.
That's perfect.
And then you just have a lot of life gain that at 1 mana or 2 mana, and then you can just start. So many triggers.
That's pretty sweet. And then finished up the night. So this was started at noon, and my night didn't end until 3:30 in the morning. God damn it. The last game took frickin' 4 hours.
Yeah, disgusting.
Of which I was out for an hour and a half of it, so that was not fun. Like, the nice thing that it did is I cleaned up. Like, I was like, honey, I cleaned the whole house. Like, basically, everything was thrown in the garbage, everything was put away, but I was so tired.
I did some vacuuming, kind of like the lint up on top of the fridge.
Well, when you have about 10 to 15 guys, I think we had like 12 or 13 of us, I guess.
It's a lot.
It was a lot of guys.
That room was hot.
Yeah,
it was.
But we went through a lot of pizzas. I think pizzas were just constantly being made. That and little apps here and there. I heard a beer crack. What are you drinking there, Lowery?
I am drinking a Holodots from David and Goliath, which is a fantastic company. It is their Christmas. It's a cinnamon apple or cranberry apple cinnamon lager. If you like Christmas beers, this is a good one.
So one
Christmas
beer,
beers aren't my
basically?
favorite.
They are your favorite?
They're not.
Oh, okay.
It's a very strong on the spice.
Gotcha.
So, like I like it, but this is my second one. I'm probably not gonna like it.
I am still drinking my whiskey from my brother Joe, who made it up this weekend. That was awesome that he made it up to play some games. Suntory whiskey and not Toski. Toki. So it's pretty decent. I like it. I like it a lot.
Nice.
Okay. So that was this weekend. Good fun. Maybe we should just get kind of into the episode because we got a little bit to talk about. And we're not 20 minutes in, so we're good. All right. So, oh shit. Let me get back. All right, there it is. All right. So, you can become a patron like our new patron this week. We have Daniel Schneider, right? Schneider.
Welcome to a meat forest.
That sounds like a fairy tale of a meat forest.
And I apologize if I butchered your last name, because then Larry should hit the other button.
One.
I think you're fine.
But you can become a patron just like Daniel did. $1 or more gets you into the Discord, gets you to chat with all of us and have fun with. There's a lot of chatting. I get very distracted. Today was a big talker day.
Yeah,
wasn't
yesterday
about magic.
was.
What ends up happening?
Tuesdays are the worst.
That's what I was gonna say. Editing days, it all of a sudden goes freaking crazy, and I'm like, I have to edit this cast. Stop talking. And I know T Coates is also editing the other cast that he's doing, so he's like, yeah, everybody shut up, stop talking. I have to silence it. But if you want to be bugged on Discord or whatever, jump in there. $1 gets you that. $5 gets you into the common level. We have common, uncommon, rare, mythic. You know, we're good with our stuff. I don't know. But those get you proxies. And like we talked about last week, the printer actually came in after the podcast and they look fantastic. So check if you want to see those, if you're not a part or if you're part of the Discord, check those out on Discord. It's on one of the channels, but you can also check that out on Twitter. I'll talk about that in a second. So that's the money way to support the show. The free way to support the show is to check us out on YouTube. Biggest thing you do there is subscribe, like our videos, watch our videos, comment on stuff there. We will try to talk back, which we typically do. You'll see videos.
Very sassy way too.
Videos such as Curated MTG, which is bi-weekly. We had that
Did you have this discussion with somebody?
No, I just after we were talking, I was like, yeah, it's bi-weekly. We're doing it 2 times a week. It's bi-weekly.
Yeah, 2 times a week.
Yeah. So twice a week you will see Curated MTG, and today's. Do you want to promote last Friday's too? Because I think what's happened with the algorithm with that is that you're posting it when you're not meaning to post it, and so it posts like the day before. And so it's not catching on the algorithm. So we need all of you to just click on the curated so we can get those bumped up. Just because the last 2 have been posted weirdly. But what was this? What was today's? Do you remember?
Today's was Primal Order, which is a green enchantment that deals damage to each player during their upkeep for the amount of non-basic lands that they control.
Brutal.
So if you got a lot of people like me or Adam,
we're going to get hit.
What side I'm on?
Yeah.
Then it's going to deal a bunch of damage every upkeep.
Point this. No.
Yeah,
this way. Yeah, because I'm over that way and you're that way. Right now you're above me. Like if I'm looking at you before I edit, you're right there.
Okay.
But later you're you're that way.
And then
those Fridays. I used elephant grass, which was one of your curateds. I switcherooed that on Friday into my Daryl deck, and I got to play it. And that card was in my cards that I don't ever look at box, but I don't want to get rid of. There's a garbage box, and then there's cards that I don't want to necessarily get rid of. And that was in there. And I was like, why the fuck was this in here? I knew I had it, I just couldn't find it. And that worked out pretty damn fantastic, dude.
It's very good.
Elephant grass is also going to be tagged here. Check out that video as well, because that is a really good.
It's from a while ago. That was a good one.
That's a good one.
Noetic Scales was on Friday, which is an artifact. And then during each player's upkeep, they got to return creatures to the hand with more power than the cards you have in your hand.
So if you're, I like that.
And so if you're able to
is it for that player again, or is it for each?
Just that player.
Player.
So that player has to return cards. So if they only have 3 cards in their hand, they got a 4 or higher power have to go back to their hand. And so if you're in a wheel deck and you can get rid of their hand, discard. There's some fun ways to play around with it. So I'd say check out that curated as well.
Yep, I hadn't seen that card, so it's always fun when I'm like, oh, what is this card?
There's three bounce cards in a row though, so I didn't realize it until I sent it. I was like, oh, that's a lot of bounce cards.
Larry likes bouncing. All right, the other videos that you can. So big thing on the curated stuff. Watch the video, like it, and if you want, write some comments on there. Other videos are I did do what I was talking about last week, the breakpoint video for the secret layer. So I did it for the commander deck, which you guys still have a lot of time on that. 2 more weeks, I think, left to buy that. Perfect. And that is a fantastic one to buy. Watch that video as well, because it kind of breaks that down. Also Proxy Time video. Proxy Time live is on Sundays at 7:30. And what I did this week was, what was it again? It was Ragavan.
Yes.
Because I realized I didn't have him. I needed a proxy, and I have him in other decks. And then Guy's request. We didn't talk about this last week, but they started spoiling a little bit of the Unfinity and Beyond, which is the new unset, which is out in April. But they gave us the freaking sweet Shocklands, the freaking sweet basic lands, and a couple other cards, also revealing that some of those cards will be legal to play. Things with acorn stamps you won't be able to play. But one of the cards was it Saw in Half? Saw in Half, which is going to be ridiculous. It's basically it's an instant, destroy target creature. That creature gets duplicated into 2 creatures, except their powers are in half. So somebody brought up, I don't know if that was you that said that. Somebody in the Discord's like, well, Dockside Extortionist just got really good with this card because you're making 2 copies of it. Yeah. So made an alt art of that because there just isn't a good image of that. So that's Proxy Time on Sundays. And then you can see the podcast. You can see us on the podcast, see us right now talking, see any cards we talk about. That pops up there. You can also contact us on Twitter. That's where you can do some of the voting. You can see any of the videos that we talk about, or any mail day stuff, or some stuff that we talk about on Discord. We'll make it onto Twitter, but a lot of times we post it on Discord and we're like, I don't want to post in 2 places. Let's just leave it over there. So Discord gets everything, and then some of it makes it over. It bleeds over into Twitter. So
the people that we know are definitely going to click on it and find it however they wanted to. Yeah. We give it to them super simple. The people that are kind of iffy on us, we're like, fuck you. You're not finding us. We're not doing anything for you.
So, and then you can also direct message us there, or you can direct message us by shooting us an email, which is CommanderSmiths@gmail.com. And that is the way that you can send me suggestions for, oh shit, I was going to hit, oh, good for you instead of the, It's time for everyone's favorite game show, Stump the Smith Savant. All right, if you don't know how this game works, I'm going to read the flavor text of a card, and Larry's going to try to guess what that card is by asking yes or no questions. Every yes, he will hear this.
Hello, boobies.
Every no, he'll hear this.
Wrong, 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 wrong.
He will get up to 3 clues, and he will get up to 5 wrong guesses. If he gets all 5 wrong, the stumper, which this week is Joe at JSerator _ on Twitter. So it's a non-patron, so I like having those. Like I said earlier, I like the patrons too. I like you guys too. So, but that is, he will win a Chatterfang full art.
Hole.
Yeah, thank you. I love you all. I love everybody. Chatterfang, the full art Chatterfang for Modern Horizons 2, and the art card. And at 4 weeks, we will add another card if no one has stumped Lowery yet. One last thing with that is if Lowery can guess what the card does, basically everything that the card does.
The name.
Yep, he will get the initials of what the card is and try to guess it from there. So, I think that is it. So let's get into this card. All right, you ready? This one's short. Karn's creation is now his master. Karn's creation is now his master.
Okay.
Karn's creation is now his master.
Okay. So more than likely they're talking about Mirrodin in some way, because I believe he created it. It's all, artifact metal plane, and he's kind of like a, metal planeswalker robot from Urza Spark. So yeah, I think it could be Mycosynth Lattice.
Did Adam flinch?
It
Nope,
could
straight
be.
face.
Ooh, that'd be a good one. It might be Praetor's Council.
The people listening are just like, why are they fucking giggling? If you're not watching the YouTube, it's
not as funny.
Yeah.
So, because what it's saying is like, Mirrodin wouldn't have been like taking over Karn, but the Praetors did take over Karn. Like, there's a couple of cards of him being kind of controlled. So, this is more than likely in the second Mirrodin block. Is this card in the second Mirrodin block?
Ooh, do you know the name of that?
It's either New Phyrexia, Mirrodin Besieged, or Mirrodin something. Scars of Mirrodin.
Hello, boobies.
Okay, so it's in that. I want to say, so like, since it's there, I know it's a heavy artifact themed set. I probably want to go with like, is this either colorless or does this card have a color? So I think I'll go with, I think it has a color, because the arts in my mind for what this would attribute to have color, like green, blue. Those are the two colors that are in my mind for the art. So does this card have color in it?
Hello, boobies.
Okay, so that was a hello boobies.
Mm-hmm. So it has a color. It's in one of the Mirrodin blocks.
What?
It's in one of the Mirrodin blocks.
No, it's in
or
the
it's in
second,
the Mirrodin block.
It's in the second Mirrodin block. Let's go with a clue.
The art features Karn.
Motherfucker. Thank you.
The second one's going to help you the most, and the third one's not going to help you very much.
All right. Well, let's go with the second clue, please.
Or do you want me to give you the third clue? Let me give you the third clue. I'm going to flip them around.
That's going to be the worst one? All right.
Only a standard original printing is in Mirrodin Besieged. It did also catch a reprint in a special thing. But that
probably the fucking list.
It's similar. Mystery Booster, the list. Those.
Yeah, mystery. Yeah, they're the same thing. Whatever. Mystery Booster, the list. All right. So, I know that Praetor's Council is in a commander set, which makes me feel like this is a. I'd be kind of surprised if this is that blue aura. Is this? I just want to say if it's blue, but I don't. Let's. Is it a blue card?
Hello, boobies.
Is it an aura?
Hello, boobies.
All right, I fucking know what it is. Shit. Does it give infect?
Hello, boobies.
Does it steal a creature from an opponent? Yeah.
Hello, boobies.
2 blue, 3 colorless.
Hello, boobies.
The initials are CC.
I'll take that middle clue.
Now it's not going to be good anymore. It says sometimes when you steal a card, you make it way better. But you already got all the other stuff.
It doesn't help.
Yeah.
All right.
You keep taking away my clues.
I'm sorry that I'm good at this.
So you got everything. You got the initials CC. You have what the card is. You have the picture. You know everything about it.
Yeah. It was one of the two right off the bat when I was thinking of it. So I don't think this is right. But is it collective conscience?
Wrong.
I'm close, though. Is one of the words I just said in the name?
Hello, boobies.
Breaking it down. I just have to figure out which one.
Yeah. I think collective conscious is a greed card.
So you got, it is an aura.
Shit.
It is for Mirrodin Besieged. You steal a creature. The part where I was like, it's you control enchanted creature because it could be your own. It doesn't have to be an opponent.
Yeah.
Enchant, but you're not going to steal your own creature. It's just stupid. But if you wanted to give it infect, so I have used that card in that place. Enchant creature has infect, and the initials are CC, with one of them having one of the words that you said there. The reason why I said it that way is I was like, I don't remember what the wrong one was that he said, so I don't want to repeat what you said.
Is the word conscience in it?
Hello, boobies.
Conscious. All right. So that should be
CC.
Motherfucker.
With conscience in it.
Now this is where like the segment can go a really long time. Because I'm like, that close?
This is the closest you could be without not getting it at this point.
Yeah.
Like you've gotten everything with it.
I haven't used this card since my...
I have a little bit more with it because I believe it was in my Nekasar deck, because it's a way to give Nekasar infect and kill everybody, or if I wanted to steal something from somebody.
I think Jason Rader's been listening long enough. I at least recognize the name on Twitter and stuff like that. So he knows that I hate poison. So
I'll be honest with you. He gave me 3 options, and I chose this one because it was poison.
Your mother. All right.
That was actually something I was going to add in the second clue, but I was like, it gives away too much. I'm just going to say.
Okay, so is conscious the second word?
Hello, boobies.
Okay, something conscious.
Conscience. C word conscience.
Wow. I hope you all close the ladies' ears there.
It does have a brain down there. I knew it.
Corrupted conscience.
Hello, boobies.
Good job.
Fucking Mario winning the race there.
It's a me, Mario. Good job, buddy.
Got it.
Oh, I was worried. I was like, shit.
Yeah, I was real worried there too. Then you started talking about the vagina, and I was like, oh, I know.
It's corrupt, that vagina down there. Those damn corrupted vagina. Secretly, that was another clue.
Well, yeah, it's
Gwen's gonna get all pissed at me now because I gave a bonus clue talking about
I wasn't saying that
vagina.
the vaginas are corrupted. It corrupts the male mind. That's what it is. That's what we were totally talking about. Totally. Wink.
Oh man, that was good. Good one, Lowery. So, how did you figure out? Like right away, you were getting it. Karn's creation is now his master. I was impressed that you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's only 2 arts that hopped into my head for like him being controlled or like being there, and so that was like Praetor's Council because he's like strapped to a chair, like same thing, just different angle with Jin Gataxius, and then it's a green card. I might be wrong on Jin Gataxius too, but
yeah, the green card part.
Yeah, and so they're both him, different angles, like he's strapped to a chair, and so he's kind of the heart of Mirrodin, if I'm remembering right. And so it kind of made sense. Like it just kind of like went down to that block and then needing to figure out where it kind of is.
I was impressed. I'm pulled up Praetor's Council. Yeah. Who is talking to him there? As Phyrexian contagion corroded Karn's body, the Praetors whispered psalms to correct his mind. That might be Jin.
Which is weird that it's a green card, but Vorinclex doesn't give a fuck.
It could be Vorinclex.
Could it?
Yeah. Are you able to pull it up really quick and look at it? Let me look really quick. It might be Vorinclex, actually. Now that I'm... Yeah.
He doesn't give a
Yeah,
fuck.
that's Vorinclex.
You think so?
Yeah. Look at the shield thing on his head. That's totally Vorinclex. I mean, look at Jin. This is good podcast here. You guys can... Yeah, I think it's more Vorinclex because Vorinclex has the little thingies off to the side. Jin looks more like a sliver in a way.
This ain't happening.
And then, yeah, it would make more sense, too, that, like you said, it's in green. So,
yeah,
all right.
Yeah, I would.
Good job, buddy. Well, you guys can try to keep stumping Lowery. Next week is week number 4, but...
no, wait, I got to get next week, and then we add the card.
But next week, things are going to be a little different because we will have a guest that we will talk about later. And so there really won't be for 200 for you guys to win anything, but we are double recording. So if you want to get in on the following one, you might want to send in those. And you can, like I said before, if you're part of the Discord, shoot me a direct message. Otherwise, email CommanderSmiths@gmail.com to get in on trying to stump Lowery. So all you have to do is just send a card that's over 5,000 decks. That's the thing I forgot to mention in the beginning. 5,000 decks or more on EDH Rec. And then as long as it hasn't been done. Like the thing is, some people have been sending out requests and I'm like, oh, somebody did that one. So we don't like to do repeats. So, okay.
I do. What do you
I mean, you like to do different ones where it's Crucible of Worlds with all the different art and all the different flavor text. But yeah, okay. So now this.
Perhaps play a little game called Just a Tip. Just for a second, just to see how it feels. Or ouch, ouch, you're on my hair.
Okay, so how is this going to work? We're kind of doing what we do. We just kind of wing it. We have an idea and we just write down some side notes to ourselves, and now we're just going to kind of talk. So
that's how podcasts work.
Well, a lot of times I think other podcasts are very much more organized. Like, here's the topic, here's the outline, here's this, and that. And we're just like, here's the topic.
That's probably why they have more views.
Yeah, right. But
oh boy.
You're like, I don't know what button I can press to help with this situation here.
I don't want a relationship. I just want bang bang bang. I don't want to know your name. I just want
bang bang bang.
Just for AJ. That's
Okay, so it isn't just for new players. I mean, it's gonna benefit new players out a lot. But we're going to kind of just go over some of the important things, especially like building your toolbox out. That'll help out most of your decks. Like the cards that you kind of, not the exact cards, but just cards you want to look at getting for your toolbox to make your decks more efficient. And if you use proxies, if you don't, that's fine. We're not going to point out, go get the dual lands. I mean, you can, but if you use proxies after you own the cards, these will be good cards to get for your toolbox so you can use them in every single deck.
I think this definitely can help out the people that like piecemeal decks together. Yeah. Like if you sit down, build a deck from scratch, and then you find the cards that you have, and then you're like, okay, I'm doing this huge order from TCG or, whatever, Card Kingdom, not sponsored. And you just buy that whole thing. Like, you're just doing your thing. That's fine. Like, I think that's a little bit different than what we're thinking right now. This is more like if you're going like, okay, I have these kind of cards, or I'm building this kind of deck, this theme. I'm going into the LGS. I'm doing, I like this card. I want to build a deck with it. Like, it's more like maybe a slower process.
Well, okay.
It's not like it's actually like getting the toolbox rather than for specific decks.
So yeah, I guess this is what triggered the idea of doing this before we started like hashing it out. Was I feel like new players and maybe new-ish players that haven't been playing Commander very long but have been playing the game. They sometimes go for the wrong stuff. It's all about big flashy creatures, the things that are the game winners, this and this and that, the trying to get the Crater Hoof Behemoths and all that. But really, the most important cards aren't those really expensive cards per se.
Yeah.
Some of these that we do mention are a little bit more expensive and that you should look at getting. And we see people in the Discord and that we talk with, like, just got the next fetch land, or just got this. I'm almost done with getting all the shock lands and all that stuff. This is definitely something like you just mentioned. When you're buying all your deck, your cards and stuff, maybe get this piece here, get this piece there. And we're going to make reference to episodes where we've talked about all of these. So at any point, if you're watching, those will also pop up as you're watching this on YouTube. If you're just listening, check out the details because we'll have those also pinned out. And you're probably you wrote them down actually, which episode number. So if you don't even want to
we'll
look
say
at
them,
that
they'll be in the show notes. And if you're on YouTube, you can click on it.
Yeah. So why don't we should we get started with what we're thinking with all this? Or you got?
Let's start off with just like the bigger, broader picture that we just went over in episode 190, where you can click right here. Can you do that? I didn't even know.
I think I can. I know it pops up on the right-hand corner, but you're on the left-hand side, so we'll see if I can move it. Let me point for you.
I don't know what the fuck you can do.
There.
Okay, so we had an episode where we were talking about how to buy, like, would you rather buy singles or boxes? And the gist of it is if you're buying standard, don't buy packs, don't buy boxes, just buy the singles.
And for example with that is my neighbor that I talked about earlier, Tom, has been getting into Magic, and he keeps calling to be like, hey, Crimson Vow's out. I'm at the store and they have Crimson Vow, they have Midnight Hunt, they have the D&D Adventures in the Forgotten Realm or of the Forgotten Realm. Should I get these? And I'm like, no, don't get them. You can get all those singles for cheaper than what you're going to spend to get those packs. Like,
absolutely.
It's just what it is. So that's one of the big things with new players is they want to just, open packs, whereas really what you should be doing is going to those sets and going, I get all those cards for half the price that I would get if I opened a box. So, okay, keep going.
Buy Commander product, especially the main big ones per year. So last year's was Strixhaven. And then, we're getting these weaker precons per set, and those aren't bad to get into either. They're just not...
The value isn't there with those.
The value isn't there. There isn't as many new cards, and there isn't a larger swath. But they're still not bad. I'm not going to... especially if you're brand new.
But there is a tune up to the big... At least in the last year when they've now started to put these better Commander decks in, it seems like, the last 2 years or whatever. The main one... Those seem to be tuned up a little bit better. And you can kind of see that if you look at the value of those decks, they tend to, the average is higher. Whereas the ones that you're buying off of Crimson Vow and all that stuff, they're almost exactly what the price is that you're paying for. Maybe 10, 15 bucks higher. And
then when you have those special sets where we're going bonkers, Modern Horizons 2, Commander Legends as examples. Those are where there's going to be solid quality playable cards almost all the way through the set.
Mm-hmm.
And so boxes are a good purchase on those. They'll really help fill out themes and utility. And so we would suggest those as boxes. Singles are perfect, as well. But those are so just as a broad theme to be good with your money. Singles for standard, Commander Precons.
What episode was that again? 191, you said?
190.
190. Okay.
Yep.
So for sure, Commander Legends was we tried to get as much as we could.
Yep.
It was just lack of inventory and all that stuff everywhere.
And the set was incredible to play with, build with. It was such a fun, cool set.
Yeah. And now we're seeing the values starting to go up a little bit. I think the biggest downfall with that was the foil curling.
Yeah.
But that's just
which is straightened out for me. I have no issues with them. I didn't do any of the moisture things. I just
let them sit out, and they just
let them sit in my boxes here, and then I go through, and they're there.
Nice.
So, let's go with next. Probably one of our better episodes, but our blueprint.
Yes, that is one of our top episodes. What episode was that?
Episode 130, which you can click on right here.
You know what I'm actually going to do? You do that, and you're going to make more work for me, but I'm going to do it because it's going to be fun.
I'm
going to move you around as you're doing it. So if you point there, I'm going to move you so you're right underneath it, and I'm going to move you, try to get you to be pointing at it. So you might be upside down at some point.
That'll be great.
If you point down, I'm going to flip you around.
Oh, you just wait. Okay, so Blueprint.
Or I might not do it at all now that I've said it.
Okay, so Blueprint is episode 130, and wherever Adam puts the clicky thing, you can click on it on YouTube.
And that's a blueprint for building your deck. When you're going through and figuring out, okay, I need to put this deck together. Here's a blueprint of, I still use it to this day. When I'm starting a new deck, I'm like, okay, what did I have down for this? Normally I wasn't doing that before. When we did the blueprint episode, that's when actually we wrote the stuff down and tried to break it down, and we worked out a list together. So it's a very good episode to check that one out wherever.
And so we put a lot of emphasis on drawing cards and ramping. Mm-hmm. I don't know where you put that, but I put draw cards and then ramp cards second. But again, those are two the best cards to look at.
And you consider ramp mono rocks the same type of thing?
Yes.
Yep.
Spells, creatures, artifacts. If you're going I want this cool card or a ramp card, and you're trying to, this is kind of like a staple versus idea here, going okay, I only have the budget to get this or that, kind of lean towards drawing cards or ramping.
Or ramping, yes.
And what you'll find yourself being able to do is just they're kind of like glue cards, utility. They make your deck go. even though you might have some cool cards that you want to play with and theme-wise, but if you can't get to them or you can't play them, your deck just kind of falls flat.
Yeah.
So if you're not having the blueprint style, like enough of these types of cards of draw and ramp, your deck just isn't really going to work.
It's going to fizzle.
You can find ones that are in theme if you're, if you're working on that, or if you're like in Modern Horizons, I'm sure there's a bunch of good draw cards in there that might be within a theme within there. Like that could all maybe work. I didn't do that, so I can't like fucking back that up or anything. But just saying, like, if you're trying to make the decision between like a game winner or a cool card you want to play with, go with ramp or draw. Unless
you're playing a number 2 deck, and did you hear that on this week? Oh, he gave Trombley, because I was playing Magda, he gave Trombley his counterspell deck, and he's like, there isn't really a way to win with this deck. There is no win con with it.
Just counterspells.
It was just counterspells. That's just a bit to get at me. Trombley was like really close to playing it, and he's like, well, I want to win. I want a win con. So unless that's the only thing, is you don't have another way to, if you don't have a win con yet, then go win con. But every other circumstance, you go with the ramp or draw.
Yeah. And then probably the next tier would be like protection and removal, your interaction within the game. That's also really important to be playing within your game, because if you don't have removal, people are going to be able to do whatever they want to you and like kill you as quick as possible, or kill your stuff and you can't do anything about it.
I would say that is the hardest thing for new or experienced players. That is something that I have had to consciously be like, I don't have enough removal in here. I have enough mass removal, because that's normally my way of doing it. And that's the thing, is you could do just mass removal as your thing. Like, it's just board wipes and that's whatever. I've tried to work on more of spot removals. I think that's the hardest thing for players to do, is like, well, this doesn't fit with my theme, and it's not ramping, and it's not drawing. How is this helping me? I'm having to deal with, I'm thinking about the other players. I'm thinking about my stuff. I don't want to think about their stuff. And that's the hardest thing, is you need to have that in your hand. It's never, oh, I can't wait to play this card. It's, okay, there's going to be a game winner on the board. And if no one has an answer for that, for example, the flipping coins thing, you guys didn't have an answer for an enchantment removal, which is one of the harder things to get rid of in the game.
Yeah. Yep.
And you end up,
bada bing, bada boom, you win.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, what happens if you don't have the spot removal, you never get to do your thing, because another player is going to win, and you have no way of answering their shutdown. And that's just one thing I think is, from experience, you've played spot removal for years and years and years and years.
Yeah.
I've played spot removal over the last couple of years.
Well, I mean, that's philosophy too. So like, as you're growing as a collection and figuring out what you want to do within your decks, like, I make a conscious decision that I don't want a Wrath, because I don't like resetting the board.
What?
Unless I'm gaining an advantage. So I like Wraths. Like, if I'm in a token deck, I'm more than willing to play a Wrath that destroys all non-token creatures. You know what I mean? But I don't want to just play Wrath of God.
Yeah.
Unless my creatures are indestructible.
Right.
So like, I want to gain advantage off of Wraths, but spot removal allows me to deal with a lot of pinpoint problems and not resetting the game.
Yeah.
So
like, Cyclonic Rift, I mean, that benefits you to win the game, kind of thing. And
absolutely does.
That's one card why it ends up in a lot of my blue decks. Almost every single blue deck it's my answer to everything, then it covers that little side to it. But what you're saying with the removal, like, for example, with Arcades, my Arcades deck, I have mass removal, but it's all based on wall stuff. So as if creatures have 3 or more power, remove, destroy all creatures, everything has to deal with that. Or pick a total of power of 4 for your creatures, destroy all the rest. Every player does that. It fits on theme, and that's why the mass removal is there.
And then the next portion for the blueprint, like where you're building a deck and what cards you want to be getting, I would say the last part is actually your game winners and your theme. And again, I don't know where you would want to be putting that. And then just your pet cards, don't even fucking think about them at this point. Like, you're going to think that a lot of cards are cool, and that's awesome.
Especially if you're a new player. These are all my pet cards.
They're all amazing cards.
Every single
but
one.
If your deck isn't moving forward, you're going to get frustrated.
I would say yes to a point. I think for what we're talking about here, yes, all that is last. But you still need your theme in there. You don't want all these, draws and you fill your deck with draws and ramping and your removal, but you have no theme. You just have your commander.
You want some flavor in there. So would you say theme over game winners?
No. Yes.
Because
you need a way to win. Like if you don't have a way to win, if your way of winning is just having the most life at the end and that's how you win by attacking, that's fine.
But isn't that good? I think that might get hashed out in your theme when you're building it and stuff like that. And so I probably don't have as big of an issue with that. But like those main cards of starting a collection.
Yes. That's what I was going to say is what we're saying here for these. This is kind of a blueprint of what fits in most of the, like helping out all of your decks. Like this is what you should be doing to help out all your decks work better.
And so I get like themes very important, but really game winners when you're done with this deck, because you will be done with this deck eventually. If you never touch that theme again, you have a ton of dead money that you don't have anymore. You just put it into your box and you're not going to look at it again because it's probably pretty specific to that deck.
Mm-hmm.
To whereas like game winners can kind of go like, you know what, this might work. Torment of Hailfire can work in a lot of black decks.
Yes, almost every.
And so that
deck
makes a ton of sense to have as a game winner, even though I understand if like I don't like playing it at this point because it's a highly used card and seeing it a ton kind of gets fucking boring. But for new players, new collections, you should have it in your collection. You know what I mean?
That should be in there.
And so, but you do need to be able to close out the game. And as you gain more and more cards, you're able to choose your game winners. Mm-hmm. But again, at the beginning, you're not going to have a lot of choices because there are so many fucking cards.
Yeah.
So we're just trying to help direct, like, make sure that your deck works, draw and ramp. Next is make sure you can interact, protection, removal. Mm-hmm. And then figure out how to close out the game and whatever theme that you're doing. Because obviously if you're buying decks and building for it, like you're going to have that theme in there.
Yep.
Maybe.
A little side note to things if you're kind of looking for cards. We're not going to name specific cards necessarily, but like we've talked about it before, and I think it's in the episodes that we talk about with all this, so we're going to have tagged in this. But utility lands, you can get the best of both worlds with that too. If you can look for some stuff like that. Artifacts, we talked about that with mono rocks and all that.
Since you're talking about lands right now, and we're about to just start getting into that right now, lands are super fucking important.
Yep.
All right. And a lot of people go, they're boring, they're not fun. But just what we were talking about, your lands, once that deck is done, can go into the next deck.
Yep.
That you're building, and you don't have to reuse that money to buy another set.
Especially if you're playing with proxies once you own it. If you don't play with proxies, like you just said, you're done on your board with that deck, you tear it apart, you use those cards again. But they fit in that deck. And so to give you an idea, that Dragon Shield app lands are double, if not triple, my worth in all of the color, like every color broken down, every multicolor, every commander, every planeswalker, I have that all broken down. Lands is like triple of anything else. The next
value wise.
Yeah. Value wise, like lands are important because there's a lot of good lands. There's a lot of, there's built-in utility on so many lands where you can get around or do certain things. And it's also a land in helping you out. So that's something you really got to kind of look into for investing wise. But first off, you should be really trying to get out of those tapped lands and more into the more consistent untapped, like your shock lands, or
your fetches,
duels, but your fetches.
I think fetches are super important. I think dual, we have this discussion in episode 94 of proper mana base.
And we right here.
I was going to go right here.
Oh, I can't do that. Just have it appear over your face.
Oh, that collective conscious, corrupted conscious.
It took me a second. Those damn vaginas.
We're in trouble. Censored on YouTube, I'm sure. Okay, so but proper mana base episode 94, we go into pretty good detail about what lands are good, what to avoid, stuff like that.
Hey, and side note, highest downloaded episode we have is that episode. Ooh. So check that episode out.
You've probably listened to it and then forgot it. Go back to it.
Yeah, it is one of our biggest downloads. So and it's a good episode. I mean, it's a good way to break it all down.
All of our episodes are fucking fantastic.
But fetches are one of the more important things. But I think they're not as important if you're just playing monocolor decks here all over the place, which you shouldn't be doing.
Disagree.
But newer players, well, no, I'm just saying they get way more important once you start mixing in more colors.
Yeah. Okay.
Because you could just use the basic fetches. And when we talk about fetches, we're also talking about the basic fetches. If you don't have the money to buy a fetch, then use your Evolving Wilds and use your whatever that was the other one, Terramorphic Expanse. You can use those if you want. But
Fable Passage, Prismatic Vista.
Those are better.
Avoid those two that Adam just said.
I don't use them, but if you're just starting out, you
just said don't play tapped lands, and then you suggest tap fetches. I don't understand it.
When you don't have the option to it, that's just it.
If you don't have the real fetches, then yes, play all four.
Yeah.
How about all right.
Okay.
Fucking Jesus. Yeah. Kind of reiterating what we just said, like lands. Because they can go in every deck, whatever the next color is going to be. And maybe this can be flip-flopped with artifacts. Because artifacts literally can go in every deck that you that you can.
Yeah, I guess
play.
if we're trying to put it in order, fetches, shocks, all that stuff, those lands are probably first. Then I would probably say your mono rocks would be next. Maybe. Yeah, I would say that's next instead of the all colored lands, because those just you're going to have those in every single deck. Like you basically go get Arcane Signet, you get Soul Ring, you get those guys, and they just go in every single
deck. Those are super important, and they come in every precon. That's why we kind of suggest it, because they give you a very basic starting step stool thing.
I personally like the ones that give you every color, but then also give you a benefit, like Commander Sphere. If they blow up your mono rock, you can sacrifice it to draw a card, or getting things that do other stuff. Now, some of these are a little bit newer too. But Chromatic Lantern is an excellent one to get, especially if you are playing multicolor stuff. So that's just some of those other good ones.
And then like if you're looking, so one of the traps that I got into, because I kind of came in with Shards of Alara, which was heavy multicolored theme, and I fucking loved it, right? And the problem is that I'm kind of skipping ahead here, okay? But 3 colored cards, you're just not going to use them a lot. Even if you like, I love 3 colored decks, but how many
of that 3
how many Bant decks are you going? How many green, white, blue decks are you going to make?
Right.
And then how many of those green, white, blue cards fit in that green, white, blue deck?
Right.
You know what I mean? And so like 3, 4, and 5 color cards, they're just not going to be used a whole ton. If you buy them for a specific deck, maybe, but future, probably not going to work. You know, because I was buying 4 of like Esper whatevers. I just don't play with them. They don't. But if you buy a blue card, that's going to fit in your Esper deck, in your Bant deck, in your Azorius deck, in your Dimir deck, in your mono blue, in your 5-color, in your 4, a singular color is going to be so much easier to play with in the future when you buy that card. And it's going to be so much easier on your mana.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be so much easier to cast. And in general, just bring more joy to your deck. Because having a card stuck in your hand blows.
Yeah.
And if it's like those ultimatums from
They're
Ikoria,
cool, but
they're
man,
fucking cool.
I
yeah.
have not used one, but that's also because I haven't played a 3-color deck. But that's what your point is it only it fits in that specific kind of deck, and you're gonna play it. Yeah, that it's hard to get those a part of your repertoire. Like, and that's kind of going back to the triomes. I had that on the list of like the shocks and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. They're used a lot, but again, they are 3 colors. They have all 3 mana symbols in there. They have all three types. So you can't use those in a 2-color deck. You can't use that in a different 3-color. Like it might have 2 of the 3 colors. You can't use that. Like it's just they're very color specific, and it gets a little bit more difficult to use cards like that. So especially when you're building your stuff, do not go necessarily with those right away.
And so the more narrow the card is that you want, the less likely you're going to play with it in the future.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's kind of like 5-color decks. Like Kenrith might go in a bunch of 5-color decks, maybe just because it's generically good. And same thing with like Golos, but that's banned now.
Yeah.
But then like you have a couple 5-color like ally decks, and it's like, well, you're only playing that in an ally deck, and allies kind of suck. Other than like from original Zendikar, that's where all the hype comes from.
Yeah.
And then you have like 5-color slivers, but you're not going to put those slivers, that 5-color sliver in a different 5-color deck. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So basically, when your lands or artifacts are specific on a color, I'd steer. It's much better to get the ones that say they can be any color. Obviously, like it's stupid, but it's just go for the ones that make it so it's every color. So you have like, I don't know, the reflecting pool stuff, those kind of lands where it can be any color. Even the commander ones, of course, you're going to have a command tower in every single one of your decks, unless you're playing mono color.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But any of those work well with that stuff. I think, do you feel that the color or the utility part is better with land when we get to this next section? Because I do like when my lands have those draw engines on them built in, because that gets you like War Room is, for example, from Commander Legends. I don't know if because I feel like give me an "oh, good for you." I feel like my
hello boobies.
Sorry.
I didn't even say it yet. You just gave me hello boobies. Thank you. I feel like my dual land base is really good, like with the shocks and the duels and the other, battle bound lands and all that stuff, that I don't focus on the all colors so much. And I feel like the utility lands are more important to me.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think one thing to think of too is like, I think Reflecting Pool is a generically good card. Again, that card can go in every deck that you ever build if you want. So that's going to be technically a better buy than like a shock land, especially if you don't have the fetches.
Yeah, it's a good point there.
And so it's that kind of like balance. And hopefully if you're having these questions, you have somebody that you can go on this Discord for the CommanderSmiths, and you can ask these questions.
Oh, look at you.
On specifics, selling us.
Look at you. $1 a month gets you into the Discord.
And so like you can have these discussions, like Jacuzzi he enters into a raffle and he has like these 6 really good cards, and he's like, what should I get if I win this?
Oh yeah,
and
the
people fucking vote.
Yeah,
like that's okay to not know what you want.
Yeah,
necessarily. He probably does, and he's just he's just pulling to see.
For sure.
He's nice. So, but it's also okay to just ask the question, like, what should I be getting?
Mm-hmm.
And there can be more specifics because this is more of a generic idea. Now, if you want a lot of good ideas on what cards to get, our first year, we had a segment called Core Cards for Commander.
Cards for Commander!
Yes. And that would be episodes 11, 16, 20, 26, 35.
You pointed out 40 down there. I like where that one ended up. 40 is my favorite.
Yeah. Can you do that? Can you fucking do that Brady Bunch thing right there?
I have to move you around every single time, so you're going to be shifting. We are
okay, so that was episodes
in this episode, but we are making
11, 16, 20, 26, 35, and 40. That will be in the notes just to say where it is.
At least you're giving yourself more work because you're the one that does all the title stuff. So at least you're with me flipping you around, pointing to it, you're gonna get some work too, buddy. Actually, I don't think I can do that so quick because it's like you can only tag for how many seconds. So I need like a buffer of like 7 seconds. So now that you just did it back to back to back, I can only like put up.
You can't do that.
Yeah. No.
Okay.
So
all right.
You should have had a pause.
Don't even have. You want a 7 second pause in between 6 different.
I will cut that up. But yeah, core cards for Commander. That's how we started everything. I'm actually afraid for people to go back to those really old episodes.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
I
just think if we were doing
back.
YouTube. Think about YouTube. If you were doing, you would have had to do we're like 45 cards deep, hour and a half into it, just scaring people right now.
I'm so glad I didn't know how to do video back then because that was terrible. That was
me too.
We named every single card we wanted. We did not narrow lists down. We're like, this is a good card and this is a good card.
Yeah, it's questionable, but let's throw it in there
and let's talk about every single one of them. And then we'd have like 3 other segments in there, so it was just it's ridiculous. Okay, so what more do we want to say with this? I mean,
for color, I think just like when you're thinking colors and trying to gain a collection, the easiest to cast will make it into more decks and just be more practical for you in the future.
Mm-hmm.
That would be my advice. Next tier there in the types of cards to buy would probably be instants and creatures.
Yes.
Do you think sorceries make it into that?
No. Sorceries tend to be stronger, but because they're on your turn, they can be. Those are more so your game winners. They can fit in that spot. But instants are definitely up there. I think they may even be more important than your creatures.
Yeah, and that's where I have them rated as well because they're saving your bacon a ton, and so let's say instants, creatures. Like if you're needing to make that decision between the two, but again, lands, artifacts, those always work. Always work.
And the thing about instants is typically those are where you're going to find your removal stuff that we talked about before.
Yeah.
They're your reacting stuff. And even if you're known to be playing a lot of instants and it's not your turn and you have stuff untapped, you at least have that threat that people, even if you don't have that threat, you still have that threat of you have land untapped. Fuck, they can do things. People do good players do that. You should be like, okay, they actually have stuff. That's when you start to get to be a better player is when you look at the board and you're like, all right, Lowery has like 2 blue land. He has 1 blue land, but he also has this artifact that can create a blue land. So he might, but he doesn't play counter. Like when you start to realize your players of what they have untapped, like Lowery said, if you ever see a blue player with 7 mana untapped, attack that player because
just force them.
They have a Cyclonic Rift and they're just waiting to use it.
Yeah.
That's when you start to, and that's how the beginning is you're more focused on you. To become a better player is you got to focus on you, but also what's going on everywhere else. So if you're playing a lot of instants and you're known to play instants, you're always going to have that threat, even when you don't have that threat in your hand.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just why I would think instants is what you would go for, because you're going to be playing those. A lot of the removal stuff is in that. A lot of That's why I think my Daryl deck does so well, is because it's all based off of instant speed stuff, reacting to what everybody's going to do.
Yeah.
And if they don't do anything to me, then it's like, okay, well, now I'm going to go and get land because that's what I had in my hand.
Mm-hmm. And so after instants and creatures, I would say sorceries.
Mm-hmm. And
then, I mean, it's kind of, it's like just below creatures probably, but still really important.
Do you think you think enchantments is after sorceries?
I think enchantments. Enchantments. I think so.
Yeah. I guess that would be meta dependent, because I feel like
sorceries tend to be like the good sorceries tend to be ramp. Tends to be like mass removal.
They're better. They have normally they're better.
Yeah. And then after that, like I would say enchantments and a few choice very good equipment. So like if you go
your
to
protection stuff.
Yeah.
Yep.
Greaves, boots, like those hardcore staple like skull clamp, and a couple other equipment. There's not a large swath of equipment where I'd be like, these things you need to fucking get. Because even though like you would say
Shadow Spear needs to be
Shadow Spear is fucking good. But at the same time, like if people start telling you like Sword of Feast and Famine, Ice and Fire, like they're really good.
They're good, but you don't have to have them. You can start gaining them. Like this is so expensive.
And this is where we can be getting into the discussion of like staples versus not.
Yeah.
And like equipment has a handful of really necessary like equipment that you need. And then beyond that, it's kind of just going like, okay, this is good utility.
Mm-hmm.
But the prices can be pretty steep.
Like
for those,
I really would put Helm of the Host in there, because if your commander is good, why not have 2? Why not have 3? Why not have 4? That kind of wrecked me. Frickin' Cole got Teysa, multiple Teysas. Was not fun to deal with. Yeah. That's how that game ended. Yeah.
And
I agree. There's a few choice equipment ones, mainly the protection stuff, but the swords you can kind of work up to those, but those aren't necessary to have.
Yeah.
I didn't own them all until recently. So
and there aren't, and so I'd put like probably that handful of equipment and then like enchantments there. And then at the bottom, I'd say like auras and planeswalkers.
Yeah. We talk about it. I don't remember what episode. I'm guessing you didn't write that one down. When we talked about planeswalkers, why aren't you playing planeswalkers?
I saw it because I looked through every 199 episodes, but
man,
I didn't.
Oh, good for you. No. I think planeswalkers should be played more, but they are definitely a last resort of looking at, especially when you're building your collection.
They're really cool. They're very flavorful. But they're like enchantments that can be attacked and killed.
Yeah.
And not necessarily static, except for that starting to happen. So like
Teferi,
like
the new Teferi, get that one if you can. Get it now while it's cheap, because it's fucking ridiculous. It's just
Is it the new one, the blue-white one?
No. The one that we like a lot. Master of Time.
No, that one's fucking
just stupid.
Incredible.
I got
but
to
again,
play it.
like we're talking about like a handful of really good planeswalkers. And sure, that is, but if you're a new collector, you might not even know what that is. You might just think every planeswalker is fucking incredible.
That one's ridiculous.
It's pretty good.
I don't even consider that a planeswalker. That's a mono rock right
but
there.
But in generalities, I would say don't get the planeswalkers and auras, because it's card disadvantage to a degree, because
you're putting on a creature, the creature gets removed and it's gone. Like
and so unless you kind of know, unless you're building like an enchantment deck or enchantress style, like that's on theme, totally makes sense. But in generalities, it's not it's not going to move forward. It's not going to make itself into a bunch of other decks in the future. So, and again, this is about building your collection and playing with these cards. I mean,
now once you
like, I got a shit ton of cards. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's just, that's all cards.
I could move my camera around, but I won't because then you'll see all the other crap that's all around me. And that's just to get your base. Get your base, and you're good to go. Then you start expanding into other things. Like
if you're going like, oh, my decks are working, then it's starting to go like, okay, I'm starting to know what I'm doing.
See,
and
Planeswalkers are my almost kind of like my pet cards. I try to involve a Planeswalker in a deck if I can, if possible. But it's just they're fun to collect. I like having Planeswalkers. They do multiple things, but they will get killed. They are a target as soon as they hit the board. And as a new player, you're probably not going to be. You're not going to get the advantage of what you want off of them.
I would say they're easily manageable. Like very rarely are you like, oh shit, this is getting out of control. It's like, okay, you can do that. You can do that. You can do that. Okay, we'll slow you down a little bit. You can do that, or it's gone.
Teferi, Master of Time.
Yeah, that card is fucking.
It didn't save me because I had to phase out a creature and then I got killed. Anyways, that's just game stuff. All right, yeah, I think that's pretty much it.
And so types would be probably our top 5s. Could give a good example of at least what we like in card types. And so if you look for the title says top 5, and I didn't get all of them because you didn't put it at the beginning and that made it tough. But it starts at episode 92.
I did because that was when I was
we did other stuff too.
Yeah,
so
that's
you'd be
what
like,
I was like
top 5
every single thing that was happening in that episode, and it was like a paragraph for the title. I got you.
And so it starts on episode 92, and we did one for every type, even commanders and stuff like that. So I don't have all the episodes, but it starts at 92. Then there's 124, 134, 140, and it's probably a few in between there as well. Good luck.
Hey, it's a good time to reflect back on some of our old episodes and check those out. So it actually worked out pretty perfect to have it right now. Because 200, we're going to have... Who are we having on for 200?
Oh, that's a treat. We're going to have Dana Roach on.
Woo! So it's going to be fun. We're going to be talking about basically our play style of Commander. So,
which is his. I didn't really realize that it was his as well. And I saw him, he tweeted something. I was like, holy shit, that's me. Let's talk about this. And
we had that on our list to talk about. Like, that's the funny thing. So we had it on our notes of like, all right, how do we do an episode where it's, I think I called it, we had it as Commander. We just couldn't think of a name to call it.
And I mean, like, the idea of it was kind of bloated. Like, we were including everything like we kind of do. We were allowing ourselves to ramble, and he had it so clean and succinct for what it was. It was like, that's fucking us. Holy shit. How did you fit that in a paragraph? And
I think there's like one thing that we don't do, and then everything else was exactly what we did. And it's just like, all right, sweet.
And so
we should have Dana on next week for the 200th episode, and I think he might join in a couple of our games. So that's why I was saying the Stump the Smith Savant will be a little different.
Well, let's see how bad he makes me look. He might just got it.
We're just gonna need him on. They're gonna take it over for their podcast. They're like, well, Lowery's really not the Savant. Dana's the Savant. He's gonna get it. Okay, so we need to get into the other stuff that we're gonna.
Shit. Where are we at timing wise? How do we do on that?
Hour 20.
Oh my goodness.
I remember I was trying to like kind of wrap it up earlier, and then I was like, oh shit, we're actually not done through the list yet. Okay, so now
I thought that was good. I hope you enjoyed that.
Now we got this. Or wait a second. Do we want to do this, or do we want to save? Should we keep it going? Yeah, let's keep it going.
Yeah, no, let's do it. These are my glow sticks.
Excuse me.
I guess I'm a beer. People double fist when they're doing.
I gotta top myself off for this. Staple versus.
Can I go get another beer?
But I'm just giving myself a little bit of a. Are you getting a beer? Are you actually leaving? I am keeping all of this in there as you're leaving. Now, you're not going to be able to hear very well with your headphones over your ears.
They're not like insulation.
Yeah, but your ears are going to get all sweaty. I'm going to be like that GIF that who sent that today? Licking ears, because we were talking about Foo Fighters concert and how Alex is like, Ibukaki was talking about how I couldn't.
Don't say it that fast. That's so gross.
You're drinking a Surly. What is that one?
Black Cherry Supreme Tardale.
Man, you are going with the flavors on there. Flavor Town, buddy.
Flavor Town. I'm gonna get some frost tips.
Okay, well, Lowery is getting everything ready there. I'm gonna give the results of last week's. Last week we had what do we have? Oh, Life from the Loam, Lowery.
Ooh.
Against Crucible of Worlds. Where do you think this one shook out?
Oh, I'm pretty sure I got crushed. That was the general feel that I got.
What gave you that feel?
One comment. I don't remember it very well.
Where they just like attacked you personally, like you should be ashamed of yourself.
No, I think it was like the reiteration of where we ended up. Like Life from the Loam has a higher ceiling, but Crucible Worlds is just generically good.
No, that was the other. I think it was Renshai said the exact thing, but the other way flipped around. And then at the end of it, he's like, well, really what it is I have Life from the Loam and I don't have Crucible Worlds. And I can't, and I chimed in. I was like, because he hadn't listened to the episode yet. I was like, I made the exact point except flipped. And then from there, everybody's like, I agree with blah, 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 blah. Okay. So let me get the results.
Okay.
YouTube voted 47% to 53%, obviously. 47% was Life from the Loam.
43%?
Yeah, so Crucible
that's
won.
low.
I don't know why I just gave you the loser.
Yeah, I don't know why.
40 at 5%, our loser. Twitter voted with a whopping 72%. Crucible Worlds.
Whoa. Ooh. Ooh.
Discord, here's your guys. Here's your guys.
My babies. Let's see. Did you pull through?
64% of the votes went to Crucible of Worlds. Wow. I actually didn't total up the whole thing, but it was a big win.
Yeah, you don't need to. That's a crush. That's
all right. I don't know if I have that luck with this one. This one's gonna be tough for me this week. So what do we got this week?
No, I think you win. I think you win this one.
No, this one's gonna be really fucking tough, dude.
No, I think Adam is going to be representing Eldrazi Conscription,
which I have played, and I think it's fantastic.
Yeah,
that isn't me lying. I'm just like I played this card a lot more than the one that you're about to say.
Okay,
go ahead.
And then I am going to be representing in this court of law Spirit Mantle. So
okay, well, Eldrazi
both
Conscription,
auras.
Sorry, yep, both auras. It's an 8-drop aura.
Yep.
But enchanted creature gets 10/10 and has trample. Oh, and Annihilator 2, which Annihilator 2, if you guys don't know what that is because it doesn't get used very often, is when it attacks, not after the attack is done or blockers or blah, blah, blah. It's right when it attacks, that defending player has to sacrifice 2 permanents. 2? Yes, 2. 2 permanents makes it trample 10/10. Spirit Mantle, what do we got here?
Colorless white aura. That creature has protection from creatures and +1/+1. It doesn't sound that cool, but whenever you draw it, you get to play it. It's not going to get stuck in your hand. You can whatever creature.
Is that what your argument's going to be?
Whatever creature you put it on is going to be able to block for days or attack for days. You're going to get more attacks in during the rest of the game.
You're doing a pillow fight again, just like you did before with your.
What?
I'm just going to sit here and defend, and I'm just going to do this, and it comes out into play. What happens with Eldrazi Conscription is you flop that dick on the table. it's a 10-10 trampler.
Later on in the game,
Annihilator too.
Absolutely gains remove. Like everybody's gonna go, oh shit, let's remove that. While it's even before like it's on the stack, and they're like, okay, we're killing this. I think Spirit Mantle is sneaky good because you're able to get those creatures through that can deal combat damage and have effects. And like I said, blocks for days. Like protection from creatures is really good.
Yes, I will give you that.
And so,
but
again,
they're
both in the same
again.
deck. Well, I mean, like I get attacked a lot, so having a creature that can block anything that's thrown at me is nice.
You know what's nice is when you have a creature that can kill any creature and then make people sacrifice their shit and do damage.
I don't know about that.
No. Oh, you know what? We never even explained what we do in this. In this scenario, you have two choices.
Got right into
One
it.
choice. One choice for these cards. Obviously, this is a white deck and can be any other color, but really whatever. Mine is a dick flopper, and yours is a...
That's a reasonable sized dick. What do you want?
Yours is
it's very practical. It's very practical. No, it's not. Look, yours comes down. It attracts a lot of attention, and if it does happen, like it's a very good card. Totally agree.
It more often than not. It's on the scale of game winner in the argument kind of we had with the, it is kind of similar with Ink Shield and Arachnogenesis in that was a game winner. Arachnogenesis is a good card. They're both really good cards. I think Spirit Mantle, it's nice because it adds that protection too. I'm not.
You froze up on me.
Did I? Oh, now you froze up on me.
I froze up on you.
Nope, now you're moving.
Okay, we're back.
Am I moving?
My internet connection is unstable. All right. We might want to No, that's fake. All right, what were you saying?
I got to stop doing that. I should just do like a natural pose like
I just don't move that much.
I gave myself away with the big eyes and hands like I'm eating you. When do I do that during the podcast?
Never.
Okay. Eldrazi Conscription. It's granted, yes, it is a lot of mana. But you can cheat it out. You can cheat it out with other things.
What are you cheating that out with?
I don't know.
Name the cards, because I know what it is.
Yeah, I know you know, because I'm like, I can't think off the top of my head.
You got Boon Weaver Giant and yeah.
So there's ways to cheat this out.
Yeah.
Take advantage of it that way. 10-10, Annihilator 2, Trample. It's a game winner card. The Spirit Mantle, it's easier to get out. It's kind of like protection. I mean, it is. It obviously is. You can block anything, whatever. I get it. You can get through. It gives you that. But it can't remove. I'm not going to win this one.
What do you mean? What can't you remove? What do you want to get rid of? Like, it kind of, like, if you're going against a token deck, is it good? Is it good? Is it a good card against a token deck?
This is going to be a tough one for me to win this. And
I don't know if that's true.
Me
lamenting, like, I'm not going to win this.
When you did this, and then you're like, I choose Spirit Mantle. I was like, well, I was going to choose Eldrazi Conscription probably, but it would be easier for me to win Spirit Mantle. This sucks.
You're fine. You better leave all this in, too. No, I think it's a lower to the ground card. Like Spirit Mantle is a lower to the ground card. I don't know if we have to say anything more. I think that's where we're at, right?
I don't think we have to say anything more. Adam just admitted that Spirit Mantle is gonna fucking win.
I have turned his mind over to Spirit Mantle. I have won. I broke him mentally at least.
I like to play cards where I'm going to win the game.
Wow.
That's why I will play Eldrazi Conscription.
That's why you play green.
That's why I play. And think of this on a big fatty green creature. This thing is going to win the game.
That's why you play red. Spirit
Mantle, shut up. Spirit Mantle, I would play Spirit Mantle. I guess here's the thing. Here we go. All seriousness. Spirit Mantle when I would play this card would only go in decks that I am trying to get my commander, or mainly my commander, because that's the idea of the deck, unblocked. It's for the unblockable nature of it.
Yeah, I think so.
Eldrazi Conscription can just go in a token deck and can go in even like a year. It's not going to go on a year. Oh no, it is going to go in Yuriko.
Because
holy
8
shit,
mana?
8. Yes.
Yeah, but if you return the
not in
creature,
my-
then it goes away. So like you're done ninjutsuing it in.
Yeah, but the thing is, you put it on Yuriko, they block it, the damage still goes through because now it has trample. So it almost has unblockable in a way. The problem though with Yuriko is Yuriko has a very low CMC as an overall deck, so that's why it is not in that. But what I'm saying is, this in a way has unblockable because you're giving it 10 plus 10.
It's so big.
Yeah. And they are having to sacrifice 2 permanents, which can get, it's 2. Yeah. But it is still, they're sacrificing before they're blocking. So there is
Judge,
that
I would like to have all of that stricken from the record because we are not comparing it in a white deck, which is where it should be.
Is it only white though?
No, it doesn't have to only be white, but Yuriko has no white. And so
that's why I said Yuriko, it wasn't working.
Eldrazi Conscription, and my card, Spearman.
I love this segment. I really like it because it's just like we are arguing where it was before. I did like how we had it before, but I really love how we have this part. In the editing process, I text you every week. I was like, this makes me laugh and smile so much because it's just sometimes
it needs to be in a white X whatever deck, and so that would be the proper.
Which means you're saying
comparison.
it's in a terrible deck and you need a card that's going to make things better. So Eldrazi's Conscription is the card you should be playing.
If it has to be in a white anything deck, then yeah, you
talked
need a
about
game
that
winner.
last
White
week,
doesn't
right?
have that.
Look at our episode from last week, which is over this way.
Over my face? What?
My finger going that way.
I have a feeling that it's just going to like pop up in the corner. No fingers are accurate at all. You're going to be like, fuck this.
Probably. Considering we're an hour and a half into this podcast
All
at this
right.
point. All right. So if you guys want to vote on this, check out, if you're part of the Discord, we have it there. YouTube is actually the place we get a lot of the votes. Twitter is the other one as well. We tabulate all of them and we'll announce it next week. We will not have, and actually that makes sense. We are not going to have a Staple Versus next week, but the following week we will have another one. We already announced who's coming, so I think that's Lowery's coming. That's who's coming. Lucky. Okay. I think that should do it for next week. Next week, 200 episodes. Very special episode. So you guys, we'll check you guys next week.
Thanks for listening.
See ya.
Bye.
Sega.
I love boobs. I'm talking tatas.
That noise.
I
Did you press
love
that?
boobs. I'm bunkers for honkers. I love
can do that. I can
boobs.
hold on.
Thanks for the
Hold on.
memories. I love boobs.
I see you.
I'm hiding now. Whoa. Maybe I should look at my screen.
I'm cheersing over on this side. Oh, I'm there. Shit.